My camera's up. Testing. Yeah, okay. I can see now. So, congratulations, Seattle Storm, on your NBA, WNBA championship. It's great to have the city of Seattle bring a championship home. So, congrats. They're in Washington tonight celebrating their victory that the game just concluded a few moments ago. So, that's kind of why I was a little bit late starting. Also, I just have a lot going on here and setting everything up for tonight's stream. Um, Welcome and thank you for being here. I have a special stream tonight because, as for those of you who might know me, or if you've been in any of my other streams, I have been a math teacher and educator in mostly the subject of mathematics. And tonight we have a special stream because I'm going to be taking a look at some different ways that you can utilize your Kindle to acquire books and titles that you can read free of charge. And that's something that I think a lot of really savvy cheapskates, so to speak, already know how to do this. So those folks that live in kind of large metropolitan areas that I've known that are pretty savvy with navigating the resources that are available publicly. And anybody who frequents libraries and also owns a Kindle, you owe it to yourself to learn how to borrow books digitally. So we're going to go over that. We're going to take a look at how to find titles free of charge. There might, and you know, the key here is also free of piracy. I know there are lots of different ways that, and I might get into it a little bit with Google Play Books. I know that people in the past have gone through great steps to, and there are tutorials all over the internet too on how to do this, but people have gone onto Google Play Books and downloaded their titles, stripped them of their DRMs, and then were able to put them on Kindles. I'm not going to go over that because that's not something that I find particularly useful. Although it would be useful because I do own a few titles that I've purchased digitally through Google Play, but when I realized like how much is out there that you can do with a Kindle free of charge, then that's the route that I went. So what we're going to do first is we'll take a deep dive into ebook loans through the Overdrive service in your local library. So that's going to be our first topic of the day. Then we're also going to look at Project Gutenberg, which has evolved over the years. But Project Gutenberg is a great place to go if you're looking for out-of-print titles that also are in the or in the public domain. So trademarks or copyrights, whatever. I don't know if I'm using the correct legal jargon. I think it's copyrights have expired and the titles are in the public domain. And Project Gutenberg is kind of a collective global effort to digitize these, not only digitize the titles, but also convert them to be consumable on e-readers. So both Kindles and then other formats as well. I happen to only have a Kindle. So I've got 3 Kindles in the house. My wife has a Kindle Paperwhite, so that's the latest model we own. She always has the latest version of the Kindle in the house, and then I inherit her leftovers. We have a Kindle Touch, and I think it's a first generation Kindle Touch. I think it was among the first that had the touch screen. So I've got a Kindle Touch, and that's the one that I use. We also have like a very old original Kindle Fire that we don't use anymore. So it's one of those. It was one of those $250 tablet things that came out long time ago, and they only had 8 gigs of storage on them, and we use that to store a lot of the children's books. I've got 2 daughters that are both young. So any of the children's books that have fancy color illustrations, many of those aren't available on the e-ink Kindles. And so we use the Kindle Fire to consume those and read those titles if and when we borrow them. So my wife has a Kindle Unlimited account. She also buys plenty of books. So as far as like how we use our Kindles, oh, thank you very much, Radiant Bean. Oh, what an honor. Anyone else in the chat, like you've got to give Radiant Being a follow. Like he is among a small group of streamers that that inspired me to have the courage to do this. Twitch unfollows you from chat. Oh, I'm sorry, Radiant. This guy's the truth. He is everything that Twitch is all about and should stand for. He's just overall a positive, phenomenal individual and human being. He inspired me in many ways. Some of them which I've explicitly told him. Some of them that he has yet to realize. He's inspired me to kind of jump, take this risk and try to pull off this audacious career switch. So thank you for being here, Radiant Being. I wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for you. You inspire me. Also, anyone else that happens to be in the chat and just not commenting, please go to my information page. I do not intend to monetize my channel in any way, shape, or form. But I do have that list. I do have a list of streamers that have inspired me, Radiant being among them. So please do give him a follow. If you do feel compelled to support financially through bits or donations or subscription, throw them his way or to one of the other streamers that I have listed there. He is amazing. He's a variety streamer. He plays just about everything on multiple platforms. He also does charity streams, and so I very, very happily donate to the causes that are important to him because they're also important to me and my family. So thank you for being here, Radiant. You are phenomenal. No, I'm not too kind. I'm only speaking the truth, and you know that. You damn well know that. So it's not kindness. It's just true. So thank you, Radiant, for being here. So anyway, back to the agenda. And if you have questions, feel free to jump in. If you just want me to go off agenda and you want to ask about something else that I'm doing here, just to kind of recap, what I'm trying to do with this channel is I want to have an education focused stream where hopefully I grow to be like the intervention side to Khan Academy. Like you have, the internet has a phenomenal resource in the Khan Academy where you can go there to take a course. But then what the hell happens if you get stuck and you need help and the tutorials and you can rewatch the videos but you still need a human being to help you live. I hope to fill that space at some point in time. And I've spoken to some people that I know that work in education innovation. They think that I'm onto something here with this, but they encouraged me to try to build a following and establish something that might be worth acquiring from a bigger company like Amazon or YouTube or Google or Microsoft. So thank you for being here again. Radiant, it's an honor to have you. Oops, that's my, apologize. I didn't silence my phone, and I won't. You'll hear my phone go off if people are texting me like crazy. We're also going to use my phone because I don't have a way to display my Kindle other than through a camera, and then I don't have my webcam on a boom mic. So I do have the visor app to display my phone, so we'll launch the camera so we can see what things look like on the Kindle. So let's jump up. So we're going to talk about Project Gutenberg, and then also we're going to look at devices and reading options. This is by no means a comprehensive list because, like I said, I only have Kindles in my house. I know that there's the Nook, and I know that Sony had some e-readers on the market for a while. And I don't know about the formats, and I'm not an expert with the formats and which ones work with across multiple reader types. But maybe that's something we can answer in chat, or if people have questions, they can post in my Discord, and we can get some of those questions answered. I'm sure there's a ton of tutorials on the internet. But yeah, so tonight I just wanted to run through, until I'm ready to start taking some live questions from people that are kind of stuck in their math class. I'm not heavily promoting my channel in everywhere that I want to be right now. So for now, I just want to be running some tutorials. And by the way, I just want to show this off. My 6-year-old daughter, my two daughters are both in a school. We live in a school district that's currently on strike, and I'm all for it. Those teachers deserve a raise, and they deserve some other conditions that they're fighting over, like class size and stuff. So school was supposed to start for my daughters last Thursday, and it hasn't. So they've been on strike, and then today with their neighbor, they went over to the Children's Museum, and my 6-year-old made me this and asked me to wear it in the stream tonight. So that's what this is all about. So yeah, we're going to look at the e-ink Kindles. We're going to look at mine, which is a Kindle Touch, or I might bring my wife's Kindle here, which is a Kindle Touch Paperwhite. I love her Kindle. I'm a little bit jealous, but I'm going to stick with mine for the time being because it does everything I need it to do. We'll also look at the Kindle mobile app, which I probably I'll have to install that on my phone, so we'll do that later. And then we'll also look at Kindle Web, which of course the The digital screens are not optimal, in my opinion. I love the e-ink displays. And whenever I talk, like I always get really excited when I'm in a room with other educators and we're talking about how we can best promote literacy. Again, as a math teacher, I'm one of the math teachers that's like, no, this is all about literacy. Mathematics is very much about like being able to read and think critically. Mathematics is also about being able to communicate that out. So I very much am behind the idea of promoting literacy in all subject areas, but it's not just one of those things where I like to just make the assumption like if you can't read you can't do math. That's not necessarily true. But for the kinds of mathematics that we're demanding our children be able to do nowadays, they do have to be able to read critically. They do have to be able to think critically. They do have to be able to solve problems in broader contexts. So those students that have historically struggled in math and have said things like, "Well, I hate math because it's just a bunch of numbers to me." I do my best to try to prove them wrong that mathematics is really a language of communication, and it's a language of solving problems. So definitely broadening their horizons on the literacy front is essential and crucial. I think that what people read is I know for me growing up in my childhood, like I had a lot of teachers who had, in my opinion, too narrow of a view of what literacy was. So for instance, when I was in seventh grade, which was back in the early 90s, um, I was part of my brother's D&D campaign, and so I would frequently bring my D&D books to school for sustained silent reading, but then like my teacher would make me put them away and find a novel to read, and it was frustrating because if you've ever read D&D books before, they're highly technical and they're advanced level reading. And so I didn't see a problem with like why can't I read my Dungeon Master's manual because I'm trying to learn how to run the campaign. So that kind of technical reading, I think, is it has its place, especially in mathematics. And so we can look at different ways that we can open up and make some of those titles from other genres other than just straight up novels. Looking at nonfiction or things like philosophy, and we'll look at ways that we can bring those to and make them accessible to kids. So let's get started here. I've got. Let me launch my glitter pen. Love the glitter pen. So we're going to start off with the overdrive service. If you've never heard of the overdrive service, it's nothing short of amazing. So I've got the I've got the Windows 10 overdrive app installed on my computer here, but you don't need the app. You can just you can access this. This works right out of a web browser. I have the app on my phone as well. The mobile website works phenomenally or fabulously from a browser as well. And what happens is and this works across college libraries. I think subscribe to the service. Uh, Thousands of public libraries subscribe to this service. Go out there, get a library card or validate it if you haven't used it in a long time. I'm sure if you have a library card and you haven't used it in months or years, you might have to go in and revalidate it. And then more importantly, get their list of. Oh, my webcam stopped again. No, no. Okay, let me see what I can do to try to restart my webcam. I don't know if I can just unplug it and plug it back in, but I'll be right back.